A new threat is brewing in the tropics. Not great, but how much of a threat is it? And what's the weather like on the home front? I'm talking temperatures along with your big weekend forecast. I've got all that and more in today's Friday forecast, which starts right now. Hey, what's up, guys? Meteorologist Stormcat 5 here with the Friday forecast. Let's take a look at the United States. We're going to dive right in here. The first thing you're going to notice, look at this. Over top of the U.S., the majority of the country is cloud-free. Now, we do have an upper-level disturbance moving through portions of the Pacific Northwest, and we do have this area of clouds today, and there could be some showers and storms that we got to watch. And then down here in Florida, we've got a lot of showers and storms off the west coast of Florida. And then we've got some clouds and an upper level low moving off the east coast of Florida. It's going to be an area we need to watch through the next several days. Now, at least for this video, the big story is the tropics, and that's where we're going to focus for the first half of the video. And then we're going to talk about the weather across the United States for the second half. Right now, we've got two separate areas that we're watching right now in the Atlantic. We got this one up here in Florida. That is that area of disturbed weather that I showed you just a second ago over Florida. And now here is area number 2, and that is actually a tropical wave coming off Africa. And right now, the National Hurricane Center just upped the chances in the next 7 days to 40% for this thing to become and to develop into some sort of tropical system. The disturbance near Florida right now only is at 10%. If we take a look at the wide view in the Atlantic right now, here's that area of showers and storms in Florida that could develop, and then this tropical wave coming off the west coast of Africa. That is the system that's got that 40% chance to develop, and in the long term, that's going to be the main threat that we're going to have to watch for the next 10 days. And while we got the visible satellite up, let's take a look. This is the leftovers of Humberto and Imelda. They are basically gone, chalked. They're cooked. It is no longer a tropical system. It's no longer a hurricane. It's now an upper level low that is going to be pushing towards the United Kingdom this weekend. Okay, so what are the models saying about these next two tropical systems? Let's dive into that right now. We're going to start with this system off Florida because that's probably the biggest threat in the short term. And I say threat with an asterisk next to it because the GFS model right now has this upper level low and the surface low develop, 1,009 millibars. So we're not talking about any sort of hurricane by any means, but watch as we go into Sunday, into Monday, it slides off the coast, moves into the Gulf, and then eventually pushes on shore into the panhandle of Florida. Now the Euro doesn't show anything developing, and that just shows you that this system, while it could spin up into something, even if it does, it's probably going to be weak. Now, the biggest threat with this system's probably going to be the rain here. And you can see we've got two separate areas of spin. One down here, and that's spinning all of these showers and storms along the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. And then you've also got this secondary low over here that continually spins showers and storms onshore into Florida. And by the time it's all said and done, we could be talking about a couple of inches of rain, especially along the east coast of Florida and also along the west coast as well. And then if you head all the way up the Gulf Coast, you can see an inch or two, especially down here in Louisiana, where if some of these storms do make it on shore, look at this, right off the coast here. This is just off the coast, almost a foot of rain. Now that's through the weekend, but still, that just highlights flooding rainfall is definitely possible for our southeast coast brethren from tropical system number 1. So now what about that tropical wave that's pushing off of Africa? This is going to be the one we have to watch for the next several days. This is the European model. It illustrates how this could play out. For the next couple of days, it's probably going to remain weak. Nothing shows up, nothing pops up. I don't think we're going to be talking about a hurricane here over the weekend at all. Then watch as we go into Sunday, Monday, right there, and Tuesday. That's when this storm gets to about the Lesser Antilles here, and that's when it could develop later on next week. And then watch what happens next weekend. Boom, this thing explodes right off San Juan into a hurricane. But then the Euro has it getting picked up by a trough and sweeping out to sea like all the other storms have done this season. Now, the GFS also tells a similar story. It develops by the time it gets to the Lesser Antilles and then continues to strengthen throughout next weekend, eventually getting pulled out to sea. But now watch what the European ensemble does, guys. This is very important here because for the next couple of days, similar story that what we've been seeing. It's going to stay weak. It's going to not develop rapidly. Once it gets to the Lesser Antilles, it's going to have a decision point, right? It's either going to blow up and get super strong and potentially recurve out to sea. But look at all of the members that keep it south for a long time, eventually, potentially meandering into the Caribbean. By the time we get to the end of the period here, which is next weekend, a lot of them do show it starting to take a turn north. Some show it recurving out to sea, but the fact that I see a bunch of the ensemble members basically over top of Puerto Rico, I can't tell you how many major hurricanes that have hit the United States have taken that path. Now notice here on the ensemble too, a lot of the models have that tropical system number 1 that we talked about earlier in the show. They do have some kind of weak development forming there, and that's why we've got that 10% chance near Florida. Also, check it out. We got a couple of members also having something develop near the Bay of Campeche, and that's right on point where tropical storms tend to form this time of year. So we're gonna have to watch that area as well. So in total, we got 3 areas we're watching. We got this one. This is gonna be the one that might be a problem here in the short term. That's area number 1. Area number 2 here is this one coming off Africa in the main development region. That's gonna be a problem more in the medium to long term, think next week. And then we got area number 3 here down in the Bay of Campeche. That one is less of a threat right now, but because I'm seeing some members develop something, it's also an area we have to keep our eyes on big time. Now guys, outside of the tropics here, what's the weather gonna be like for this weekend? Let's take a look. If we take a look at the upper level pattern here, you'll notice the beginning of the frame, you'll notice here on Friday, we've got this big upper level trough that's bowling its way across the western United States, and the eastern US is underneath this ridge of high pressure that's keeping it warm. That's probably not going to change for the next couple of days. That trough's going to slide to the east over the weekend, and that's where we could actually see potentially maybe some isolated severe weather here as this negatively tilted trough sweeps up to the north. But notice how that ridge hangs on through the weekend. We get more into a zonal flow, but still the jet stream stays in Canada, and that's what's keeping all of that cold air pent up here for our Canadian brethren. Until that jet stream can dig down in the US, we're going to continue to see warmer than normal temperatures. In terms of our severe weather here, like I said, we are going to have a risk all 3 days, but it's only going to be marginal. We got this marginal risk here out in Utah and portions of Wyoming. Let's take a look on Saturday. That risk slides a little bit further to the north. Saturday, marginal once again for possibly a severe storm or 2. And check it out, Sunday. We got nothing, maybe a couple of isolated storms along a front moving through Iowa, Minnesota. And then obviously we've got 3 days of storms here expected for our Gulf Coast brethren, where some big time rain could fall. But take a look, guys, the majority of the country is going to be dry on Friday, on Saturday, even on Sunday. Look at this. If you live east of here, you're going to be good. And there are those showers and storms that are going to move through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Going to be a moist, soggy weekend here from Texas through the Florida Panhandle down into the east coast of Florida, and then going here into the Midwest. That's where also we could get some isolated strong storms here, but for the most part, we're talking about a soaking rain, especially up here in the Dakotas and in Wyoming near Cheyenne, and even into portions of Nebraska. Now, I mentioned warm temperatures. They're going to hang on through the second week of October here. We've got that ridge of high pressure that I just mentioned that's going to set up, plant itself here, go nowhere, cause us just to bake. I love cooking. And take a look at this, guys. This is the temperature anomaly. That red, that orange, that white is temperatures that will be well above average. We're not talking about the middle to end of October until some of that Canadian cold air works its way into the US. But I am telling you guys, you see that right at the end of the frame, right there. This is October 17th. Look at the Northeast. They're starting to get some cold air working their way in from Canada. We are going to see a flip eventually. Weather always does this. It always evens out. The back half of October could be brutally cold in parts of the eastern U.S. that have seen ridiculous warmth. Winter is coming. And check this out, guys. This is your game day forecast for the biggest games in college and of the NFL. Miami takes on number 18 Florida State here. Could get a couple of showers and storms, potentially. Alabama, Vanderbilt, gonna be beautiful. Ohio State and Minnesota, also beautiful. Kickoff time is at night, 7:30. Broncos versus the Eagles. Beautiful weather, 1 p.m. kickoff. And then we've also got Kansas City at Jacksonville. See a couple of showers and storms along the Florida coastline, just like I talked about. Then we got Detroit at the Bengals here. Beautiful weather. That's your NFL forecast. A wonderful week. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully all of you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy those games. Enjoy that beautiful weather. And I'm going to keep my eyes closely on the Tropics. Find someone. Tell them you love them. Tell them you care about them. Do something nice for someone today. This is Stormcat 5, and I'll see you on the next one.